Okay, well, hello, beautiful world. Um, this come to me in the middle of the night, and I want to try to help the best I can. And this is out of my head. This is to me a very simple algorithm without numbers per se. Um, I made this chart at 3 o'clock in the morning with a marker that was at a marquee. So um, I'm trying to draw out something here, something that I think everybody can benefit from. I think it just needs to be put on a medium or something. So I tried to think of the situation where we're at right now and how we got there and where we started and what one thing led to another thing that led to another thing that led to another in a vicious cycle of never ending just clustering. So now before I touch base on this right here, I want to explain something. I have lived a lot of places. A lot of people know that. A lot of people don't. I have been around a lot of different races. I have been around Spanish slash Mexican community and ever since I was young. I have been around hillbilly country folks. You know, I have been around city folks. I have been around Asian slash Oriental people. I have been around Arabic people. I have been around black folks. I have been around German, Russian folks. I have, and I don't like saying this, but I'm going to say it one time, just so it's out there. I have true native in my blood, meaning America is my true homeland. So I've had a couple people say things to me and say nasty stuff about other people that are coming here, and I want to the polite side of me because we all have two sides, and the polite side of me would say, as long as someone in America loves America and defends it, it is their country. I'm not just a guy that, no, I have brown bloodline. One day I'll get a picture maybe of my grandfather's, plural. My grandfather comes from the Cherokee Nation in Tennessee, and that is on my mother's side. And my other grandfather had like 60% I think it was either Cherokee or something else. I don't know one for that on my dad's side, but he was also Indian. But anyways, I think that kind of gives me the the right to give my opinion in this aspect. I may not be 100% blood, but my next of kin was brown. So that being said, anyone coming to America that has good intentions, that um, wants a better place to live and a good life, welcome to America. We love you and we welcome you with open arms. So, wing. Um, don't listen to any negative people. If you're a good person and you're just not being treated very well, I apologize. That is not how true Americans are. So, that being said, I'm going to move on here and try to explain this chart, okay, the best I can. And like I said, this isn't perfect, okay? This isn't, I drew this in like 10, 20 minutes at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's the best I got. It's my version of an algorithm, per se, instead of a numerical. This one. So I have created a timeline. And in that timeline, I've tried to look at where we were within reason. I left out a bunch of stuff like race relations, stuff like that, and just kind of highlighted on this one topic first. Now, remind you, this is 1/1000th of a thing that goes on inside my head. I think a lot, more than most. I know I'm different. I know I'm not like everybody else. For years, that kind of bothered me, and I never knew where I fit in or where I belong. And I belong where I'm standing, you know. And for years, I couldn't figure out where I should move or what I should do. And I belong wherever I'm standing. As long as I don't disrespect or insult anyone around me, I can, do me. But I think I have figured something out. Maybe I don't know. I don't know this to be a fact, but I'm assuming. And no, I am not wasted or high or anything. I don't do anything. Like I said, I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't smoke weed anymore. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't do hard drugs, if I ever did any at all. Those have been over many years. But this right here is something I come up with, and I'm going to try to share it with you, whoever sees this. So, what we have here is, get a backup view here. This is a timeline. And what it's a timeline of where things started to go a little wacky. So, there's my thing. So, here we go. We have the beginning of time, more or less. Moving on, right around 1910, gambling was outlawed in 1910. Okay? And then, thus, let's back up here a second. In 1910, brothels in America were banned, as well as 1910, gambling was outlawed. And between the years 1910 and 1920, all three of these were banned, alcohol. Now, in those years, there was an organization that I think reigned supreme, and that was the mafia. These guys filled a void that was created by these three right here, okay? So, from the 1920s, the brothel was reinstated, but only in Nevada. In 1933, alcohol was, wait a minute, shit, I had it backwards. I'm sorry, I had a brain mix up there. All right, from 1910 to 1970, the damn dog's barking like it's on crack. It's disturbing me. So, from 1910 to 1970, was the area when brothels were illegal in America, okay? They seen that did not work. From 1910 to 1920, gambling was outlawed. They seen that did not work. From 1920 to 1933, alcohol was outlawed. That did not work. And in this 30-year gap right here, this right here was created. Not created, but these guys filled a void. Here's a major player. There's other ones, but I don't want to mention their names out of respect because I don't want to put nobody above anybody. I'm using him as a kind of a go-to because everybody knows him. Okay, so all these years, all this was banned in the United States. And when they banned it, what happens when people ban stuff? It gets filled. It's a void that gets filled. So moving on, from there, we go over to here. So from right here in 1970, the brothels are still doing good, only in Nevada. The mafia was, I'm not going to say like closed down or anything, but in 1970, I believe, they issued the Racketeer Act, meaning anybody that associated with the mafia could go to jail. So that was the end of the mafia's connection to these three things right here. Alcohol, gambling, and brothels. That ended that right there. What they're doing today, I have no idea. It's none of my business. I think they're flying under the radar and trying to be just doing their own thing. And then, right around, we have the 1940s to 1970s, the MC motorcycle clubs were created. Now, the motorcycle clubs, they try to, they mind their own business for the most part. They don't like being on the radar no more than the mafia, which is not the same as it used to be. And I was led to believe the majority of the mafia members now have moved back to Italy, and the ones that remain here in America, they just do their thing. So, anyways, we have those guys. So after all this mess right here was fixed, this is a mess. All this was uncalled for. Beginning of time, 1910 to 1930, was one of the biggest messes and most violent times in the U.S. at the beginning. Moving on, we have 1970 to 1980. What happened right there? From 1970 to 2022, what happened? The major celebrity deaths and artist deaths. These people we love celebrities and we love artists because they make us feel good when we don't feel good. They make us, feel just really good when we want to watch a movie or something, or listen to a really good song to uplift us, or, put us in kind of a chill mood. The problem was when these people died, these really awesome people, pain medicine was put on hold, meaning before 1970, you could get whatever you wanted within reason. It was a 90% get rate, meaning you went into the doctor and you said, "Hey, doc, I feel like crap. Can I get something to lift me up, my spirits up?" The doctor would say, "Okay, sure thing," and write you the prescription. But we lost some really awesome celebrities between these 2 points. So thus that put the pain medicine crackdown. When the pain medicine crackdown happened in the 70s and 80s, a drug boom was created. The cartels filled a void. What the void was the pain medicine was missing. People could no longer feel good when they wanted to. They had to turn to street drugs. These guys filled that void. In the same time, all this right here, the pain medicine crackdown, the drug boom, the cartels were really getting geared up. Some Spanish folks were heading to the U.S., about 20% of them. These folks right here were heading here because, well, mainly they wanted a better life. They didn't want to work all day for $5 or $2 and have nothing to show for it. They wanted to come to America and live the American dream. And they have the right to do that. In the 70s and 80s, crime started to spin out of control, but not as bad as Mexico. Mexico in the 70s and 80s to today is a very rough place. It's a very lovely place. I love the Mexican culture. It's just an awesome place, but with some questionable businessmen over there. Also in the 70s and 80s, there was a lot of gangs created. I don't want to say, but obviously, if it's a gang in America, they were created. Now, here we go. And in 1983, I believe the internet was created. Okay, very awesome, super cool. When the internet first come out, it was the coolest thing since, I don't know, chips. But so all this right here was going on in the 70s and 80s. Okay, now fast forward. In 2022, you have to know someone to get pain medicine. Okay, I'm not kidding. It's that bad. They keep it so tight, and I heard it's starting to lighten up a little bit, but I don't know. Like, I don't even take pain medicine anymore. I'm all natural. In 2022, the internet is a disaster. People are arguing, nonstop arguing. Loudmouth trolls are all over that thing. The internet is driving people to insanity. I am not kidding. The political divide in this country is 100%, meaning one side and the other side just cannot seem to get it together. Me personally, I'm not liberal, I'm not conservative, I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican. I don't care about that. I'm right in the middle. I don't associate per se with either of their beliefs. I have my own. Mass amounts of Spanish are heading to the USA for help. 100%. We went from 20% in the 70s to 100%. Now, why are all these Spanish people coming over here in unseen numbers? There's 2 reasons. Politics, right here, and the cartels. These people are afraid of certain of these. Now, don't get me wrong. There is some good cartel guys. And you say, like, what the hell did you just say? There is. Even in some of the rougher organizations, these guys did not start out bad. But when you're in this game, when you do this right here, weakness is like, I don't know how to explain it. So, but there's people that do things in here that do not want to do them, and there's good and bad even in that group. So the moral is these people want to get out of, the good Spanish folks want to get out of Mexico and come to USA, but, you know, just for obvious reasons. Go look at the news in Mexico. 90%, I'm going to say 90% of all Spanish people are really good people. They're loving, they're caring, they're just good folks, hardworking, good people. Now there's 10% out of that 100 that's a little bit naughty. And that 10%, chances are, they're probably on some kind of substance making them naughty. Moving down, crime almost at the point of no return. This is in America now, meaning we're at 95%, okay? And if you take and look at this, the decline in medicine that people need to feel better about themselves, the ones that have illnesses, the ones that had terrible, awful lives, they can't get that pain medicine. So what do? They go to these guys. Well, not these guys, but these guys is, you know, second, third, fourth, fifth in the command that supply their drugs. So while America is within reason, you know, funding this organization, which we're not, you know, hey, the money, it's going to be filled somewhere. These people, these good Spanish folks are paying the price for it. So they're coming across the border and people's like, why are you coming over here? It's because the people that live in America want their medicine and they can't get it. So they go to these guys to get the medicine. But sometimes these guys are a little bit naughty in things they do. Maybe they sometimes, you know, could tone it down. Maybe, you know, just a good beating would do, perhaps. I don't know. I found that never go to the extreme because it doesn't seem to work out quite as well. That's my opinion. You do you. That's my opinion. I think a good ass kicking can do wonders. So, but anyways, so all these Spanish people are coming to America and confusing everybody, but they're coming here because of the politics. And Mexico is in a state of disaster, somewhat. So we have an internet that's completely destroyed because at any given time, people put all their opinions and everything up at any time. I think we were doing good when you had to go sit down at a computer station, like a monitor and everything, and take your time. When your ass gets numb, get up and go live your life. Go do something. I think when we got the smartphone in our hand, it really dumbed us down, myself included. I had to back away from it. So, bad things happening right here. You know, this is bad. Our political people should not be divided. A divided house is a weak house. And something else here. I'm not political so much anymore. I lost a lady friend that I truly love very much, but I don't want to talk about that. But no matter who the president is, and I would rather get punched in the balls 3 times than to say what I'm fixing to say. But if you have a president, you need to respect that man, okay? Don't make fun of him. Don't be mean to him. When you're mean to the president, you're making your own country look bad, okay? And you're weakening it. So, and I just really don't want to say this, but I'm going to, because there's a reason I don't want to say what I need to say, but I have to say this. Our current president we have right now in 2022, I'm not saying he's good or bad, but I'm saying that man has had a terrible life. His son died. And I believe, don't quote me on this, I haven't done full research, but I heard it in an interview. I believe his wife and someone else, perhaps a daughter, died. So he may be batshit crazy, but give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying, you know, whatever. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Figure it out. Be nice to the guy. Be nice to all presidents, whoever it is. I don't care. He's your president. All of them are your presidents, good or bad. So anyways, we have this right here. And then we have 2022, the end of the world. Read this again. I can't emphasize this enough. The end of the world. We're in a bad spot. Or keep going and revitalize this beautiful earth. These are my opinions, okay? These are my opinions. And I just broke one of them right now trying to do good, trying to unite everybody, okay? Both sides. Never openly, ever talk about politics or religion. Never, ever. Don't do it. Block, unfriend, and delete negative friends. If you have that friend that's always political, that right there will probably be one of very few times you'll ever hear me say anything about politics, because you're not going to win. Never talk about ever politics or religion, because you're not going to win in either one, and you're just wasting time, even if you are right. So if you have a friend that's a negative person, okay, or a family member or someone, and you're just that person that sits back and does absolutely nothing. You're like, I don't get involved. Well, that's the problem. You're not getting involved. What you need to do is give them a polite warning and say, stop. That's enough. I respect you and I loved you, but if you don't stop, I'm done with you. I ain't going to do this no more. What are we going to do? We're going to block, unfriend, and delete from the internet, meaning no matter how much you really like watching that drama, you're going to block them, unfriend them, and delete them. What that does is that takes power away from a troll. Do you understand? When you reply to a negative person, you are just feeding them mass amounts of energy. They love that stuff. They're trying to get a rise out of you. Stop doing it. And if you block, unfriend them, and delete them, you just took away all their power, because now they have no audience. Drugs, the fix. This is my version of the fixes. And bear with me on this. Legalize it, but control them. Meaning, if someone wants to feel good about themselves for the terrible life they had, or they don't feel good and their body hurts, don't make people beg like junkies to get medicine. If someone's going to die, which we don't want that. We don't want to lose these people. We love them. But if you can't handle your drugs, you couldn't handle a loaded gun either. I'm sorry. But don't take it out on me for the fact that someone made a boo-boo. Not my fault. Moving on over. Drug addicts, alcoholics. Be firm, but be loving with them. Don't be mean to a drug addict. Don't do that. Don't look down on them like they're trash. Don't do that. Or an alcoholic. Be firm and give them an option before you kind of finally say, I can't help you if you don't help yourself, okay? Because 90% of all drug addicts and alcoholics have had a shit life. The other 10% are just party people who don't care. But most drug addicts, if you sit down and talk to them, something terrible has happened to them at probably a young age, and they're using drugs to make themselves better. But since they can't get legal drugs, what do? They go to these doctors. Not probably the greatest idea, maybe not, So what do we do there? Legalize the drugs. Stop making it so hard for people to get what they're going to get. You will not. Do you hear me? You will not stop it. You will only make the situation worse. There's more criminals in the system today from people trying to smoke some pot. And this is where, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everything's wrong or right, but I'm saying 40 to 60% of all criminals in the system, the inmates, got popped with some bullcrap weed charge. Something that was here since the beginning of time. And I can't remember what year it was made illegal. I want to say 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, something like that. I don't remember. But that has destroyed more lives, weed, the arresting of it, not the weed itself. Weed will make you lazy. I'm not denying that. Weed will make you very lazy if you abuse it. So anyways, this right here, you have to do this when it comes to drugs. You will not stop it. I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. I'm saying that humbly. You will not stop a human from doing what they want to do. You can try to help them and control the situation, and they will oblige you. If they see you trying to help them but still, giving them their freedom, 90% will be like, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. So, moving on. Cartels, gangs, all the gangs, the motorcycle gangs, this, that, and the other. It's motorcycle gangs. There are clubs. They don't bother nobody outside of their club. They just, very rarely do you ever hear of an MC reaching out. It don't happen. It does, but not great. Even cartels do not like to be popped up on the They Did It radar. It's because it's bad for them when they pop up on the radar. See, it's like the mafia now. The mafia, I think they're all legit. And I don't believe they like the word mafia now that I think about it. I think they prefer the syndicate, if I'm not mistaken. So none of these people, even though they have some people in their organization that are questionable, want attention, or do they want to hurt people? I think some of these that are out of control a little bit and naughty do. But anyways, moving on. Back off. Leave the criminal elements alone if you tackle this problem right here, because if you do this, you're going to take the power away from this. I promise. This right here created this, created this, created this, created this. This. Everything is connected. And if you take the time to just look at it. Anyways, if you take care of that situation right there and give these organizations time to back off, leave them alone unless they provoke you. Give them the option to back up, do other stuff, like start a good life, a good clean life. Yes. See? All these people I don't think started out bad. None of them. You know? Even these fellas. They just got a taste for money. Now when money is very dangerous because it can turn a preacher into a sinner. It can turn a choir boy or girl into just a naughty person. So do you understand kind of where I'm coming from here? You know, I mean, I'm just trying to do the best I can with what I have here. And there's my YouTube channel, by the way. You're welcome to come and subscribe. So that's up to you. But anyways, this is it. Right here. This is my algorithm that I created to try to help people, to try to help everyone, to try and do something. I don't know what I'm trying. I don't know. It's just happening. You know what I'm saying? This is happening. I don't know what I'm doing. It's just coming out of my head, and from my head, I put it on here. So anyway, like I said, everything is a cycle. Everything happens because what happens? Every action has a reaction. And everything right here you see is a result of another action. See what I'm saying? So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't know much. I'm not a super smart person. I'm smart enough to find a shade tree on a really hot day and put my car underneath. That's what I'm saying. I'm smart enough to see that the world we're living in will not be here. I'm telling you right now. It's mathematically impossible. If we have gone from here to here in 100 years, let's just say, all hell has broken loose in America. And I mean all hell. Don't get me wrong, there's always been wars and fighting and, you know, crazy people like, I don't want to say any names, but I can say Hitler. Hitler was a douchebag. He really was a very bad person. He did very terrible things. I don't think he ever had any good intentions. You know, and there's a few more, but he's one of the main people. And he was in the 40s, you know, around that time frame, 30s and 40s. So in the last 100 years, it has gotten really bad. And now it's gotten to where people would rather argue than just squash it, and be like, I'd rather be happy than be right. Because at the end of the day, if you're right, who gives a shit? If you're right, it'll come out in the end. You don't have to really, every day, every day, every day be mean and nasty, hateful to prove a point. I'd rather give a hug than a piece of lead, you know? Yeah. But anyways, like I said, I grew up around all of this. And I say this very carefully because I'll never give out any names of specific things. I don't fit the profile of this, of this,